Hello, Aries. Thank you so much for joining me again. And thank you so much to all my Aries friends out there who sent in your comments. I really do appreciate it, and I love you guys. And I love the cards that you're pulling this week. So, Aries, from Lake Vampire, you pulled Nobility, Honor, High Standards, and Idealistic. And then from Chakra Wisdom, you pulled Expansion. Now, Nobility from Lake Vampire is saying that it's time to start tapping into your higher self. You're being asked to do the right thing and the best thing, even if it's not the most easiest thing for you to do. But when you do that, you shift your vibration and you attract new opportunities and honorable people to you. And that is where expansion is coming in. Expansion from Chakra Wisdom. This card is telling you to stay away from anyone who is critical of your dreams. This card indicates possibly changing your friends. This is about powerful alliances, fruitful collaboration, wise counsel, and spiritual support. I think that a lot of you now are setting a higher standard for the people that you have in your life. And expansion is saying that you're making way for these new people to come through who may be bringing some new opportunities to you as well. But I like that you guys are setting a higher standard for yourselves. All right, Aries, here we go. Here's the energy coming through. Nice. Look at that shit. Talking about new opportunities. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. The Ace of Pentacles. So for a lot of you, this can suggest a new job, doing something new that's going to bring some financial stability to you and security in your life, but it's a new cycle in your life. There's room for growth here and learning. And it's practical energy. I love it. That being the signifier is fantastic. Fantastic. And in the past, the Four of Pentacles. So yeah, in the past, there's this feeling of... Now, I'm looking at it and it's like... The Four of Pentacles suggests that you have financial security. It's saying that you have something. It's just that you're not willing to share any of it or let go of anything right now. And with the Pentacles showing up, this has to do with money. And looking at the Four as the past, you know, there could be this feeling of, nope, it's mine and I'm keeping it to myself. Because there is like this need to maintain the status quo here with this card, right? But then the other thing too is the feeling coming off of it is like in the past, you may have felt like financial strain and there's a need to like hold on now to what you have, right? But there's more opportunities opening up for you. You know, immediately for me when I see it, I'm like, what the hell are you hanging on to? You know, but I think right now for some of you, you're just being selfish because damn it, this is your opportunity. It doesn't belong to anybody else, right? And in the present, the Page of Wands, and it's perfect. It's perfect. It's excitement. And new news, new exciting news coming through. And seeing the Ace of Pentacles, you know, it's perfect. It's perfect, Aries. It's beautiful. I think some of you are going to be hearing some really good news and it's going to open you up. And I think with the Four of Pentacles, actually, it's like, I get the feeling that some of you might have to spend a little to make a lot with that Ace of Pentacles. But, you know, if you're wanting to hang on to what you have, it's going to be hard to be like, well, you know, I really don't want to put a whole lot of money if I'm not guaranteed a better return from it, right? But I feel like with the Page of Wands here, it's going to be exciting news, something creative. And again, you know, this could be from new people coming in. Future conditions. Speaking of new people. Now, for the Aries females, the Queen of Wands. If you guys are looking to move up at work, a lot of you, I think, are looking at a manager spot. Just with these two cards. But for the females, this is tapping into that feistier side of your nature. You know, the Queen of Wands she's not only able to manage situations, she's enthusiastic, she's fun to be around, she carries this like confidence and this excitement, and she's spiritual. And I love seeing it for you guys, but I get the feeling that, you know, some of you may be dealing with another fire sign here, you know, who may be working with you on a new opportunity with that Ace of Pentacles. you know. And for a lot of you, it's gaining some wisdom here when it comes to following your passions, when you're moving from the page to the queen. But I think it's another person. And I think that Four of Pentacles is just talking about, you know, you trying to maintain what little bit you have. It's enough. It is. It's enough to get you by, but you're wanting more. And here's this exciting news. But do I really want to spend money right now is what it feels like. But I think for a lot of you, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be an exciting new offer. And she may have something to do with it. Ooh, your best path to follow. Now, very rarely do I ever see this show up in this position, but the warning here, when it's here as your best path to follow, is telling you you need to be careful about where your thoughts are right now. You know, and if that's something you're hanging on to here, you need to let it go, because you don't want to be hanging on to this mental nonsense and letting your mind run away with you. I hate the Nine of Swords. It's all that mental shit that you do to yourselves. It's like Spirit is saying here, you have to recognize this and you need to clear it out. But I'm looking at all this going, this isn't bad. This is great. This is great. Why are you thinking so negatively? What is it that you have regret over? What is it that you're regretting? You know, maybe some of you are like, you know, I'm looking at the Ace of Pentacles and then seeing the Nine of Swords. I think some of you may be holding on to some past thoughts regarding you not taking advantage of previous opportunities that were made to you, possibly. But something's not right here with the way that you're thinking when it comes to this. In your environment, the Knight of Swords. Now, everything looks great, but there's all this other stuff that has to be taken care of first. With the Knight of Pentacles, and you're looking at it this way, you need to be careful about reckless behavior. It's one of the very first things I always say with the Knight of Swords. The other thing, though, too, is, you know, this is quick movement. It's fast, right? You're going after it. But you have to be careful about the way that you're acting and the way that you're communicating, more importantly. Because that Knight doesn't give a shit what anybody else has to say. If you're communicating with other people, you have to be careful about blocking out what other people are trying to put into this. And, you know, I worry seeing the Knight of Swords, especially with the Nine of Swords sitting there. But, you know, this really could speak to you too. I mean, as far as your nature goes, and like, let's go, let's move on to the next, right? We need to be done with this. And again, when it comes to Aries, no one would ever know. No one would ever know that this is what you're thinking, because the way that you come off is very different, very different. I don't know. I would be careful here. I mean, you know, for some of you, because you got these messengers, right? You've got the Page of Wands in present conditions, and what's in your environment is the Knight of Swords. And both of them can definitely speak to your own actions. But I think, looking at that page, some of you are getting some exciting news, and I think you're like after it. But if you do it too quickly, you might be moving into it without working out this shit first. Like moving too quick and with arrogance, and you don't want to do that. Your hopes and your fears, the High Priestess. Now, when you're looking at this card, in terms of actions, it's very different than the Knight of Swords. This is a passive energy. You're not really moving a lot here with the High Priestess. It's more about observing situations first, right? Needing to get all the information first before you start charging through and going after this here. You know, especially if it seems really exciting, like, yes, I want this. Now, the High Priestess here can be suggesting things coming to the surface. It's a little bit different than the Moon when you're talking about letting things rise to the surface to deal with them. This is more like hidden knowledge being brought up, secrets being revealed, tapping into the intuition. But, you know, looking at it in your hopes and fears, I think that a lot of you need to slow down and wait for all the information about this to come to you first. Because, you know, again, I'm worrying about this here, you know. I mean, for the Queen of Wands' future conditions is fantastic in terms of how you're internalizing the energy that's happening for you this week. But, you know, I still think that this is a person and you may have a couple of people around you, but your thoughts aren't quite right. And there's like a need to deal with that first. And then the outcome in there, Jesus Christ, there it is, the moon. So yeah, and there's something else about this situation that you need to allow it to come to the surface. When you're looking at the moon, especially with what you have here, and then you're looking at the 2 and then possibly a person here, this is something about this person that's going to be surfacing, that you're going to be finding out. The other thing too, when you're looking at the moon, is the outcome. You know, it's great for creativity, absolutely, especially with the Page of Wands there. And it's definitely something you can make money doing, right? It's about pulling that out of the darkness and creating something beautiful out of it, right? But, you know, the moon too, there's that warning there about chasing illusions. But when you're looking at it in terms of the 9 of Swords, this is really about letting that shit come to the surface through the subconscious mind and face that shit down and deal with it. The moon, when you look at the card traditionally in like the Rider-Waite, you've got the water, which represents the subconscious mind. And then the crustacean coming out is our innermost fears. It's the parts of ourselves that we don't want to face. And there's definitely a need for you to deal with that. I'm telling you right now, Aries, with the moon sitting there as the outcome, there are things that you need to deal with internally. There are parts of yourselves that you're going to have to start facing down, especially with nobility showing up. You're setting a higher standard for yourself, and that's great, but it means nothing if you don't take care of the parts of yourself that you don't want to deal with, because nothing really changes then. But when you're looking at this in terms of what's being offered to you and by people, there's a need for you to slow down. There's more information here that needs to be known about first before you start taking any abrupt action here with the Knight of Swords. It looks great. And, you know, it's no wonder why that 4 of Pentacles is showing up as a pass coming through. I would be a little bit hesitant to. And the hesitation is with both of these, because even the Page of Wands has a little bit of hesitation before they start off on the new exciting journey, right? And I do think that what is being offered to you is going to have to do with a person. Now, you know, I worry with the 9 of Swords there. It's like it teeters for me looking at this. It could either be, you know, some really hard thinking about this person who's involved with this new opportunity here, or this is just what's going on with you that needs to be dealt with, you know, the parts of you that you need to face down. But I would suggest this week for Aries, with the moon being your outcome, and then seeing the High Priestess immediately underneath that, things need to surface. You need to let things surface. Don't take immediate action. Sit back and observe people and what they're doing and saying to you before you make any decisions. And with the moon, start facing down those parts of yourselves that you may not be too proud of. We all have inner demons and inner fears and things that we have to work on. And if you're setting higher standards for yourself, you got to deal with this. You have to. You got to let that shit come to the surface and face it down and deal with it. But, you know, the other thing too with the moon is that what we see under moonlight is going to look very different under the light of the sun. So just be careful here, especially if somebody else is involved with what they're trying to offer you, because your focus is there. It's just, if you're not looking at everything else, you might miss something, and it may leave you with this feeling of regret for having taken action in the first place, when you should have been looking at the situation first. All right, Aries. We're going to take a look at soul trees to see what other messages there are for you guys. You know, damn it, it's like, man, this is great, right? New people, new opportunities. But then there's that warning too about staying away from people who, you know, are not supporting your own dreams. Like, I kind of get the feeling here that if somebody's trying to offer you something, you need to be careful about them doing it for their own selfish reasons. Pay attention to them. Pay attention to the way that they're acting and the way that they're speaking to you before you decide to do anything with this. no matter how exciting it sounds to you. And prosperity, hell yeah, hell yeah. I like just be because it's telling you when you're looking at it with reconnecting with spirit, I mean, you can see it, right? You need to reconnect. You need to reconnect with spirit, and you need to allow yourself to just be in that space for a little bit before you take any action, right? You don't want to start charging into something no matter how good it sounds. And prosperity, you are responsible for creating the things that you are wanting in your life. And if you're wanting prosperity, focus on prosperity because you will see it. Because here's the thing, even if somebody is trying to present something to you that seems like it's going to be prosperous and it may not be, it doesn't mean that you won't ever have these opportunities again. But seeing that in the Ace of Pentacles, I think no matter what happens here, you will feel that abundance and that prosperity in your life. Chemistry and romantic feelings. Chemistry, there is a strong magnetic attraction here. And then romantic feelings, your feelings are real and worth exploring. If you are single and you are meeting somebody right now, you know, it makes sense that those two would be showing up. And then seeing expansion, a lot of you are going to be meeting some new people. But definitely act on those feelings, you know. What's the worst that can happen? I mean, look at these people. They're attracted to each other. It's perfect. It is safe for you to love. Open your heart to give and receive the highest energy of all. Now, here's the thing. When you're looking at this in terms of this reading, there may be things that you need to deal with mentally and emotionally. Because it is safe for you to love is saying that for some of you, you may have been blocked off for a little bit from your partner. Now, you know, is the time for you to start reconnecting. Not just with spirit, but with your partner as well. But overall, Aries, I'm okay with it. I'm not seeing anything really bad that's going to happen. I just think that there are parts of you that need to be dealt with. But then there's also that other part too with, you know, big time needing to reconnect with spirit and deal with those parts of yourselves that you may not be happy with, especially if you're setting some new higher standards. All right, Aries, I'm okay with this reading. I'm worried a little bit. And I think it's just because of this showing up in your best path to follow. There's something that needs to be dealt with mentally right now for some of you. And, you know, if you don't correct that, you may be jumping into a situation arrogantly or not having all the information first. Which, you know, I can understand. If you're dealing with difficult thoughts, it would make sense that you want to go. You know, I want to get away from this. I want to start moving now. But there's something that needs to be dealt with. Looking at the High Priestess and the Moon, something's going to be coming to the surface, not just with other people around you and opportunities being presented to you, but with yourself as well. There is a need to really deal with the parts of yourselves that you may not want to face, which is understandable because, you know, I mean, I wouldn't want to do it. There are parts of me that I wouldn't want to look down and have to deal with sometimes, you know. But looking at reconnect with spirit and just be, I can see it just swirling around you. There's a need for you to just be in the moment, allow yourself to reconnect with spirit, and, you know, let the universe guide you into this feeling of prosperity. With the Ace of Pentacles, hell yeah, it's there for you. I would just be careful because I don't want you to regret taking the wrong action, especially if this person is on the up and up, because I really do think that this is another person around you right now. And it may be somebody who is offering you like a new job or just a new, fun, exciting opportunity here for you to gain prosperity. And where you're coming in with the feeling with the Four of Pentacles, there's kind of this feeling here like if you have to give money to get started in something, I would wait until you've seen the fine print first. You know, because we've all seen, you know, these job opportunities where they're like, oh yeah, if you spend like $400, we'll send you this. And if you sell all this and blah, 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 right? Just be careful. I wouldn't, you know, it's good to see that coming through, but for me, it's saying that there's a need to just wait a minute, you know, just wait a minute. And again, with the High Priestess, and when it comes to people that are around you, take a minute and pay attention to the way that they're acting and the way that they're speaking. And then not only that, but pay attention to the opportunity. It may be like really exciting and yeah, let's do this, but there's like some details that need to be looked at first, I think, before you start doing anything. Now, when it comes to nobility and expansion, definitely these new opportunities are worth acting on. I just think that you need more information first. And definitely don't allow yourself to get caught up with people who are not going to support you, because that's the whole point of setting a higher standard. It's not just for you and the way that you're acting. It has to do with the people that you are surrounding yourself with too. Now, as far as love goes, I really do think that there is a part of your life that is expanding and new people are coming through, and some of you may be attracted to somebody. And when I see these and I see the Queen of Wands and you're talking about an Aries reading, this may be like the perfect partner for some of you. But I like these, and I do think that they're worth acting on, because, you know, what's the worst that can happen? You tell somebody how they feel and they reject you, right? Rejection is spirit's protection. I mean, how many times have we seen that? Now, when it comes to those of you who are in a relationship, it is safe for you to love is saying to me that you've had difficulties in a relationship. And now it's time for you to start getting out of that so that you can start feeling that love with your partner. You don't want to shut yourself off, especially if you have dealt with painful things. The Nine of Swords is suggesting that whatever you've been through has left a mark on you mentally that needs to be dealt with. And it may have been the reason why there's a block in the relationship. But now is the time for you to start getting back to the loving part of your partnership, getting that connection back. Overall, Aries, I worry a little bit, and I worry about more your actions than the other person, because I worry with the Knight and the Nine of Swords being there. My advice to you is, if anybody is trying to offer you anything, just chill out and observe the situation first. Pay attention to the way that these people are talking and the way that they're acting. They will reveal themselves. And then the other part too is deal with those things that you don't want to deal with, because you will be better off. Just be with spirit for a minute and let yourself deal with those issues.